Self care is not intuitive. In fact, it goes against many of the things that we have learned about ourselves, things we were raised to believe about work and ourselves in the world. I'm here to change that. I'm here to change the narrative and blow up the self care box. I'm your host, Desiree Rue, licensed clinical social worker, self care strategist, freelance writer, a lover, and a fighter. And I'm Self Cares AF. And this is Self Cares AF, the podcast. You ask me, and I answer the questions that get you out of the box and into the life that lights you up from the inside out. Hey, hello. It is Desiree, and we are back together again. How are you? How's your weekend been? How's your week going? Do you have any plans? You have any plans for you? I really always want to hear about any plans that you have for you. One of my favorite things ever is when I send out an email to my community and I get a bunch of bounce backs or out of office notifications. That is my favorite thing. It's almost like, oh, I'm so proud. Someone's on PTO. Someone's taking the day off. So I hope that for you, you have something scheduled coming up soon for you, or that you've taken PTO recently, or that you're planning on it. Because I know that you need a mental health day. Everybody needs a mental health day. So start thinking about when you can take yours so that you can refresh and renew and re-engage. So I have been just busy. I think that's just the story of my life. Busy. My middle name, I believe, is Busy. Just but busy doing all good things and things that I enjoy. And I've been really busy planning for an upcoming retreat that I'm going to be hosting in Punta Cana. It's the first of many that I hope to have and invite and bring people aboard. Is actually a solo retreat. What is a solo retreat? Think of it like this. You know how if you've ever been on a retreat and you say, "Oh, I really love when we can do this and when we can do that, but I don't really like when we do all the group stuff. I don't really like to be around people all day." And even though many retreats are set up to where you have a lot of, time, personal time, there's always this structured agenda. And with a solo retreat, essentially you are planning your own retreat. You plan it from the time you wake up to the time that you go to bed using a formula that I have created, a framework that I've personally been using for the last 4 years. This year, I'm teaching that framework to others and hosting a solo retreat. So we're going through a 8-week series of classes to prepare ourselves and then to plan the retreat logistics. And then we'll be going away individually, but together to Punta Cana. I'm so excited about it, mostly because I love planning. Now, I am not planning the retreat itself because each participant is planning their own agenda. You get to plan what you want. You get to pull out all of the things you love about a retreat and simply do those things with a little guidance from me. But I love the idea of planning. A, I'm planning my own retreat. B, I'm also planning for the group as a whole to welcome and host each person individually, but as a group. There are no we don't have anything planned for a group. Like there's no planned dinner. There's no place anyone has to be. But there will be some opportunities for some pop-ups, hey, I'm gonna be here at 3 o'clock drinking, feel free to join me type of opportunities. And there's going to be some organic interaction because you can't get like-minded women in one place and they don't come together. So I'm just so looking forward to that happening um, on just on a very natural and organic level. This is the introverts, heaven of a retreat. As an ambivert, I started doing these retreats on my own for my own sake, right? Being able to spend quality time with myself and planning, recharging, renewing, and working on new goals. So I'm really excited about that. I've been really diving deep into that because we're going to be leaving soon in about a month or so for that time together. And I've enjoyed teaching the course. I've enjoyed sharing the information that I know, and I cannot wait until each of the participants start planning their own retreat. I just can't wait. We'll be getting into that in a couple of weeks, but I'll keep you posted and I will certainly share with you once we go away and come back how it all went and what was my takeaways from it, as well as you may hear from some of the participants themselves. So, yeah, so in terms of like what's going on and what is Desiree doing or what is Desiree not doing, that is right now like the thing that I am working on in this very moment, just really closing the gaps into my retreat that will be about a month away. So, again, I hope that you are planning something for yourself, even just this week, for you to do. So let's jump into our question because we do have a question to answer. You all know I come here to talk with you to disrupt. Like that is the main thing that I want to do every day. I want to disrupt what we think we know about self care, unlearn the things that no longer serve us, and actually build those tools for what we have going on right now. Many of us are like, we're using, 1995, 2001 tools for a 2024 situation. Not that you don't have any tools in the kit, but some of your tools are old. Some of your tools have rusted and they worked when you were using them for the time. But now it's 2024 and things are different. And we simply have to have new tools. We have to have the tools that fit and that are really, really sharp. So, I want to jump right into a question that I got from someone, and they did not leave their name, but let me pull it up. I have my phone, which, if you are streaming with me, you see me probably looking like my mother, trying to see these words even with my glasses on. Yeah, that's what's happening. Okay, so here is the question that we will be talking through today. It's self care and overwhelm. And the writer says, I'm feeling completely overwhelmed with life right now, work, family, and everything in between. I know self care is important, but how do I even start when I barely have time to breathe? And it's not signed, so we're just going to thank the writer because this question, I am certain many of you feel. How in the world do I even start when I barely have time to breathe? Self care and overwhelm is very serious and it's happening to many of us at, very points. And so I want to start off answering this question with some information or a book that I read recently. I was given, and it is not a book on self care, but it's actually a leadership development book. It's called The Nibble Theory. Um, the power of the Nibble Theory and the kernel of power. And the author is Khalil Jameson, and it's a very small book, but very small and mighty. If you have an opportunity, this is a book you may want to read. And what the nibble theory essentially says is that you typically we start whole, but there are little things that happen that nibble away at our confidence. It nibbles away at our joy. It nibbles away at our performance, the little things that just keep nibbling away at us. And as a result, we don't show up as our authentic selves. We oftentimes, it's where the imposter syndrome happens. And then we kind of learn to hold back or pull back or not ask questions, not seek to do the things that we really want to do. And again, this book is really about, it's about the workplace, it's about leadership development. Everything that I read, I always bring it back to self-care. And because I believe that that's exactly what happens to us. That we come into this world whole. As whole people. And then life begins to nibble at us. Those nibbles like those expectations or those definitions of self-care that we've been given based off of what we've seen or not seen or who we were supposed to be, because we're women or men or because of our age or our race. These are our little nibbles. And then we start nibbling away at ourselves. We don't take our lunch breaks. We don't take our time away. We start putting others' needs in front of our own. Just little nibbles. Over time, those nibbles become normalized to the point where we believe that these are the things that we're supposed to do. So, because now these little nibbles have become so commonplace for us, we don't recognize anymore that there are things we need to be dealing with. And that's what the nibble theory really kind of talks about, that these are things that are happening to us and they happen so often to us that we begin to believe that they are the normal way. This is how it is. And again, in the book, it is really based on leadership, and it talks a lot about even in the workplace how certain leaders will nibble away at our confidence or nibble away at our curiosity or nibble away at our desires for development. And then we begin, after so many nibbles, we begin to normalize it and internalize certain things. And so, again, this is a really good book because it makes so much sense, right? We didn't start out this way, but certain things have happened. And so, when I listen to this question, how do I even know where to start when I can't even breathe? There lets me know that there are so many things in this writer's life that have been nibbling away at them. Maybe it's the nibble of, the list, the things to do, the nibble of the family. Here are all the, are you managing the family? Putting other people's needs in front of yours because you've got to get this done first and then you get yourself done. Maybe it's the nibble of trying to live up to the expectation of the role. So being overwhelmed can come when you are looking at all of the things that you have to do, because all of these things are nibbling, right? These are all the things that have to get done. And so you're just like, where do I begin? I have to get all of this done. Here's what I say to you: add yourself to the list. What would the list look like if you were on it? See, part of the nibbling that has happened for you is that you don't see yourself as one of those necessary things to be considered or dealt with during the day. Everything else is, but not you. And being overwhelmed is, again, a true phenomenon. It is a true phenomenon. One of the things that you can do to help yourself decide where to start first is to take the fullness of your tasks and break them down. Break them down into small pieces. Here are the 100 things that I need to do every day. What if you were 101, but you were actually the first thing instead of the last thing? What would you do for yourself? You start with you. How do you start? How do you deal with self-care when you don't even know, you don't have even room to breathe? You start with you. Put your name, yourself, the idea of you, the concept of you first on the list. You go first. Literally, write it down. Me. What do you need for the day? Well, we know you need some sleep. We know you need something to eat. Now, you may not need, this is me talking, all the donuts. Okay, but I kind of do. But you probably don't, right? So you may not need that, but you do need to eat. And you do need to eat breakfast, lunch, dinner, and maybe a couple of snacks, right? You do need to be dressed. You do need to be comfortable. You need to be hydrated. Like me, what do I need today? What do I need? I need to laugh. Do I? Yeah, you probably need to laugh, right? Laughing, they say we laugh to keep from crying. Or maybe you need to cry. I don't know. But you decide what you need today on the list of all the things to do. Once you get yourself squared away or even a plan of it, because we all know, right, that plans are like sometimes we have a plan to go one way and the whole thing goes left. But having a plan, the actual mechanics of putting one in place will help you to feel less like you're giving so much of yourself away and more like you've given yourself something, but it changed. So every day you don't end the day feeling like everything was taken away from you and you had nothing left for you. If you give yourself some of you first, then you have the rest to be given to others. So it's just a little bit of a mindset shift. And I know easier said than done. Easier said than done, Desiree. I mean, you don't know my life. I don't know your life. I don't. But I do hear that you're overwhelmed. So what I'm going to encourage you to do is to break all of your big pieces down into smaller pieces. And I'm going to encourage you to put yourself on your list of things to do, but put yourself at number one instead of the last thing. Because sometimes we don't get to the end of our things to do list. Maybe that third thing took a lot longer than we thought, and we never made it to the 10th thing, which was us. So if we put ourselves first on the list, even if it's just to eat breakfast, even if it's just to plan to eat lunch, even if it's just a simple word, a simple affirmation in the morning. It didn't kill me, it made me strong. It didn't kill me, it made me strong. It didn't kill me, it made me strong. I got this. I got this. I'm not going to jail today. I'm not going to jail today. Or in the words of my almost 3-year-old bonus grandbaby, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Even telling yourself that first allows you to give yourself something before you jump into everything else. So how do you start self-care when you're overwhelmed? You start with you. Put yourself at the top of the list, and then you work your way down. You deserve to give the best of you, not just what's left over. And in order to do that, you start with you versus ending. So I hope that that was helpful for you. Again, I know it's easier said than done, but it is possible. It is certainly possible. And if you don't believe me, just take a look at me. I am a living testimony that when you move yourself to the top of your things to do list, you get everything else done. And sometimes you don't. But the one thing you never lose is you. Never. And when you do, you easily can get back to it. So I hope that was helpful for you and anyone else that is listening and trying to figure out how in the world do I get myself do this self-care thing and I can barely breathe. Put yourself at the top of the list first. Practice makes perfect. So you have to practice it. Practice it every day. Every day. Not next week and not next time, but practice it every day and start today. If you aren't at the top of your list right now, then go and rework the list and put yourself at the top. And let me know how it goes. Let me know if it made a difference. Let me know how it feels. And if it feels scary to do it, that's how you know you need to. Okay. Thanks so much for the question. Any other questions or comments to that, let me know. Send them my way. And I'll be sure to bring them here so that we can disrupt this conversation and give us the tools that we need for 2024 issues. What's going on right now, today. All right. You've got your assignment. Add yourself to the list, and I will see you next time. Thank you for listening. I really appreciate you being here. I hope that today's episode has sparked an idea or challenged a long-held belief or just moved the needle a little closer to what you want. Let's stay connected. Visit my website, sign up for my newsletter, hit me up on Instagram at Desi Eats and Travels, and tag me when you are being self-care AF. I appreciate your time. Comment on this episode. You know your thoughts are important in these podcast streets. So comment, give me your feedback, and I will see you here again next week.